Cavecast, the uncensored show for nerds of all kinds.
All right, guys. So to catch you guys up to speed is that we thought we were going to have video this week, and just the disc isn't working that I've used for however long.
See, guys, it's not just me.
So Eric and I have just had just a lot of misfortune, and it's just one of those where I'm kind of over it, and I'm like, no, man, I'm just going to do what I want. I'm going to just enjoy and make things happen. So, but with that being said, is that you guys are getting a radio episode this week, and people on Spotify and everything, and nothing's going to change for you guys. It's going to be exactly
everybody's
what you hear.
Hearies this week.
Yeah, which, by the way, I've been checking out the analytics and things, and I've been updating, obviously on Coffee Time when I can and different things. But bro, it's really awesome to see the amount of people that have been just listening, on whatever platform that they do. So if you are one of those people, I encourage you to stop over to the YouTube channel just to leave a comment. Just let us know what's going on and how much you're enjoying the show or things you want to hear us talk about, because it is really, really incredible that the work that was put in to make sure everything was re-uploaded, that people are digging it, and I'm so damn thankful for you guys.
I wasn't sure how that was going to go with just because I am such a visual person, even though I know podcasts are for talking, and that where you just kind of essentially put them on and walk away.
Yeah, it's like a radio show.
Right.
So
I get that, but for some reason I was always drawn, and I didn't always watch him either, but Howard Stern,
love Stern, dude. Yeah,
Joe Rogan, where it's I want to see what's going on. I want to see when this person freaks out or cringes. I want to know what face they make while I don't know why.
Yeah,
and that was a big thing with even starting the podcast, where you were always kind of it didn't really matter, but you always wanted the visual. That way you had two platforms and blah, 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 which I understood. I understood. But then I always feel when things like this happen, well, wait, are the YouTubies going to be pissed because it's just a picture? But normally they're cool with it just because they understand, well, shit happens. So yeah, guys, this was weird. This was, like I said, actually it was Kyle tonight that actually had it happen, because he's I checked everything. Everything was green and everything switched. I'm I know how that feels.
And I think it's more so just from my frustration, not to be on too long, but but my frustration with it is mainly the fact of look, I made a financial decision to get this. It's I worked it out with, my person was hey, I need to do this. I want to do this.
Yes.
It's being completely supportive of it, and everything else, as far as tech wise and stuff is working pretty well. And it's okay, cool. We've got, in this house, we got everything in the bag. When we record Riker, when we do podcasts, stuff like that. So it's just one of those where I come to expect it, but it's more so that I come to expect it not 2 seconds before we're going to start. And that's more so where it drives me nuts.
Hell, yesterday I went to edit my studio in the one Scarlet. But now we don't have, well, it's actually your Scarlet, but we didn't have sound, so I couldn't even edit while I was here waiting to do the business call.
Well, see, to me, it's one of those, I kind of look at it where I'm bro, I feel almost Jackass 3D, where it's we're really falling apart here. It's
seriously, but that's again, not staying on too long, but it's that's where I was telling Meg, where when she said something about, well, maybe you should try to, I'm no, I'm not going to move on yet, because it's not me that's failing. It's these products or the apps or an internet or whatever that is doing me dirty. I'm not bad at this.
See, it's the thing is, I agree with her, but I think it's the fact of that it's the fact of you need a complete change of scenery. You need to not have the same mentality. Things need to feel different. But again, it's I look at that as those are avenues to freshen yourselves up.
Sure.
Because I even before we jumped on here, I've kind of had the bug to do some scary stories again, and I'm man, it'd be fun to mess with the new condenser, this and this or whatever. But I had to arrive there.
Yeah,
I had to get there. Right. And that was after, a long time of just, again, shit not working. But no, it's one of those where it's I'm very much driven, and my mentality, especially even when we did our little thing for the patrons too, where it was guys, even though we've not been here for a couple of weeks, you guys are still showing up.
Yeah.
The channel's doing really, really well. Podcast platforms are doing really great. But with all that being said, is that I wanted to address this week what happened in music, because we just got done with Even in Arcadia, reacting to that, experiencing that entire album and taking that in. And we will do a full podcast episode on that when the time is correct, because much like the music that we did with them before, it's like, nah, man, like we had time to take that stuff in and let that be a part of our lives for a little while.
Yeah.
And I would love to do an Even in Arcadia one tonight or tomorrow, but it's like, nah, man, like we gotta
give
wait
it time.
So, but President dropped, and this is something that I am very intrigued to see where we go with it, because there's a part of me that does hope that this is a multi-genre band. Because if that's what's on the rise, because I know I agree with what Ron said, because we've talked about this on some lives and stuff, but it's kind of like, man, like if Sleep Token's #1 in Billboard right now, and people are digging them so much, then that means that this multi-genre, complex, lore-filled, anonymous band movement is now going to start. And it makes me like, I'm cool with President being what they were for that song, because that song fucking rocks. Fuck anybody that thinks that song isn't good, but I'm really curious to see what we're going to get from them, because I did not expect what we got.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I've only listened to it a couple of times. But when it goes to this whole sound thing and people not digging it and stuff, like, first of all, I knew it wasn't going to be for everybody. Mm-hmm. You were going to have people that didn't enjoy it and didn't, whatever, which is fine, but I think like you said, trying to do different things and this distortion that I think people are not liking is what I'm intrigued in. And is that like we were talking on the reaction, is this an all the time thing? Is this a stylistic choice? Whatever. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Taking this Sleep Token approach, not a same gimmick. Yes, I get they're wearing masks, but so do a lot of other bands, guys. Like, it's
like
not
Mushroom
like,
Head, Gwar, like fucking right.
Like they're not the first ones. I get that people are trying to say they're maybe riding coattails, but Sleep Token apparently wanted to promote them. So why are you so mad about this?
See, I think that's what's really intriguing about them, is that before we ever had any information as far as what their sound even was, they were confirmed to be on tour with them.
Right.
And that's the thing where it's like, okay, so clearly Vessel digs this, and it's the guys dig it. The people that, RCA digs it, the festival or the, event that's going on for it. They're like, nah, man, like
something is attached somehow, some way with the band or label or a member or something, as far as it could be a cousin of a friend that this is I don't know.
How much do you think, like, if you had to guess, like, because do you think President truly does have anything to do with Sleep Token? Just your personal opinion.
Like the lore?
Well, I'm more so like, do you think that Vessel is the lead singer?
No.
Or like, do you think Four is like the, drummer, or not drummer, but like Four is like in the band, like playing guitar or something?
I personally think, if anything, it's one or maybe a couple members of Sleep Token that could possibly be part of this band. Mm-hmm. Do I think that's like 50-50 though? I just am wondering if it is something to where it's like you said, maybe it's a friend or whatever connected to, like, maybe it is Two's buddy that is the bassist, but then got hooked up with this person and they made a band and then they did this and then who knows? But I think it's 50-50 because there's a part of me that's like, nah, man, this is definitely kind of directly connected in a sense to Sleep Token. But then I'm like, no, they're probably just like, this is good. Why don't we get these guys on tour with us? I like this. Let's get their name out there. This used to be us.
See, that's kind of where I'm at with them, because I know people have been saying, like, oh, it's this person or it's that. Like, I'll be honest, I honestly thought it was Jordan Fish from what he used to be with Bring Me the Horizon.
See, I still don't know who it is, and I'm still kind of playing it safe, like with Sleep Token. But I've heard they actually are encouraging. I don't know how true that is, but encouraging all of the conspiracy hearsays and name drops and whose band it was and what band and this, and to like figure it out.
Sure.
But I don't know. So, but again, I heard it was somebody else, but from like right off the rip. And I didn't know any of these names, even the one you said, as far as that goes. So I have no comparison, but I know unless he really is catfishing the fuck out of us, it's not Vessel, man.
No, and I think that's where people take it too far, because it's like, no, it's kind of like, guys, like, we already had a song written about us because we didn't handle a fan base properly, or handle, everything properly with, someone's identity. And, with President, I'm happy that I don't know anything, because I get to just live in that wonder. Right. And get excited about what's going to happen. It's, again, it's like when you don't know what Gene Simmons looks like, it's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
now you see it when even in the makeup.
It's because, there's a beautiful naivete that you can have that I think that would impact their music better. But in the same hand, it's one of those that maybe, this is a gimmick for the time being. And then, it's like, or maybe they're kind of like a Sex Pistols thing where it's like they do something for a little while and then they just peace out.
Sure.
There's like, nah, man, we hit our run. We're good. All of us want to go do different shit now,
It could also be in the fact of it doesn't matter. Look at Ghost. Look at Slipknot. Look at, like, we all know what they look like.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying what's the difference, but I'm sorry to say, to be completely anonymous, there's actually only one other person I think I can think offhand that is like completely anonymous in the music industry, and that's that Sparkmaster tape.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like, he's like impossible to figure out. But everybody else, the Vessels, the Coreys, the Ghosts, all this, like, they get figured out, man. There's no way to really stay 100% anonymous with the technology. No matter if you've scrubbed something from the internet, it's there, man. It's there. Somebody has it somewhere.
I would say that not the only person, but like someone that I would, that comes to my mind is Corpse. Only because
But didn't he get figured out too?
It's so murky. Like, it's not like, well, I'm going to be very blunt, guys. So like, if you don't want to know, don't do it. But it's like, it's not like Googling Vessel who he is, where like you get the information.
Sure.
You'll have a bunch of different fan images of people that have supposedly gone like CIA, of trying to like capture images and stuff. But from one of the interviews that Corpse did do was that he said, no, he's like, I was wearing a medical mask outside long before COVID was ever a thing. And I swear that's something he said at one point, that he's like, I always like would hide my face or whatever. He's like, I never wanted to be talked to. He's like, I paid with like, a credit card, like, that kind of like whatever he could do to, that type of thing. So like, so to me, it's kind of like, all right, that's cool. This guy that was telling stories, that I, inspired me, now is in music, and he's kept that grittiness and that intensity, but, no one really knows who he is. But then again, I think it's how you said it a while back, was it's like, nobody in his family or friends know. Like, it's like the people that come over where it's like, hey, man, you sound a lot like this fucker off of YouTube, or something, because his voice is so distinguished. Yeah. So, but I mean, who knows, man? I want to be able to not only react to more President, but in the same hand is I want to know what they're going to do with everything.
Yeah. And but see, going back to that whole thing where it's like, it is almost impossible to stay anonymous. It's just the fact of, I personally think that we're going to get some kind of ghost and all this stuff where it's like, we all know who it is, but they still just give a performance.
Yeah. They're still here doing the art.
They're here doing the art. That's the whole thing, is I think there is something to be said. I don't mean to just, ride their tails and stuff, but there's something different about a sleep token art and trying to keep that. When they ask to stay secret, to keep that, secret about it, to where, it's like the whole Fight Club thing, okay, fine. But something like President, I'm not trying to say that one's better than the other, but it's just the fact of, I think they just don't care.
Yeah.
This is just their gimmick.
It also makes me wonder if, because we know how personal Sleep Token is to Vessel.
Correct.
Where it's like President, like, I agree. I think that the severities of them are very different. But
it's not to take away from one or the other.
No.
It's just, I think that they're doing more of that, like, Corey Taylor aspect and things where it's more of the art is just the dress up part of it and the performance and all of that to leave on the stage. And then you were that quote character while you're on. And then when you come off stage, well, I'm Corey. Like I'm not, you know, Mr. Slipknot or whatever. But well, I don't know. Like that's how I take it. But you're right. I can't wait to hear more, to see more as far as like their videos, their production, and just kind of whatever shenanigans we get. So,
well, I mean, it's one of those, they get to have Halloween every day, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and take this time next to dive into Would You Rathers. Yeah, get nice and batteried. And
battery. That was good. That was good.
What was Randy Fellface said it, that he's like, I was sitting at a bus stop furiously licking a 9-volt battery, to which somebody said, what the hell are you doing? He said, oh, I used to vape. This is a lot safer. So anyway, but these Would You Rathers have been sitting for a while, and I don't know if we're going to get through all of them, but this is basically just bunny trail time, just to kind of like theorize about, talk about, get ridiculous, everything. But I figured that a good one to start off with was actually from Megan Flick, and she asked, would you rather be a werewolf or would you rather be a vampire? So I've got a couple of schools of thought here, but mainly what I would land on is werewolf, like 100%.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I think so too, because first of all, werewolves tough. Like I argue that they probably give vampires a run for their money. Number one. Number two, I love garlic, so pizza's out the window.
Yeah.
But no, I think that the whole like drinking human blood and all of that stuff, not for me. Not for me.
It's a little too tragic.
Yeah. If I'm a werewolf, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm an animal. I'm a beast right now. And this only happens like every once in a while. I'm a vampire all the fucking time.
That is true, yeah. It's like you can never go outside, and also too is that if you don't have anybody with you, you can't shave. You know, so
yeah. Well, it's because I'm gonna have to get other vampires around, and we're gonna have to have shaving parties, and then because you can't look in a mirror, so that's bullshit. I'll never know if I have a booger. I'll never know. I'll never know. Could you imagine?
You can't take Dracula seriously when he's got a bat in the cave. Yeah, you're just like, dude, no, fuck you. You know, it's
got
like,
blood on your face. You can't tell. So you got to just take other people's word for it. Can't use silverware anymore? Come on, man.
Oh God, I didn't even. Well, technically, if you're a werewolf, you can't use silverware either. Because I mean, I know Blade said that it was like, oh no, like we can kill them with bullets because they're silver. It's like, no, they're highly allergic to silver. You know, so it's like,
well, yeah, but I think I don't know. Audience knows. I think they can touch it. I think they just have to be shot with a silver bullet. I don't know. I'm not a werewolf.
Can a werewolf? That is a very good question. Comment below. Does a werewolf?
I don't know.
Can they touch silver?
I think,
or does it need to be internally put? Okay, never mind. Okay,
yeah, and then like all teas would scorch me if I touched them. If I was a vampire.
Yeah. So that's. Oh my God. That's. It's a part of me, because I know it's like there was an Underworld movie where they had a ginormous werewolf, where it was like the guy that what was it? I think that she punched into his stomach with a grenade that had a bunch of silver.
Yeah.
So he turned into a werewolf to try to like take it. Where like, yeah, he held the explosion in, but it was like getting too much of something, and like he overdosed on it essentially.
Yeah,
that's all it took? Okay, cool.
I remember that.
So that was actually the one time that a werewolf in a movie actually fucking terrified me.
Yeah, I gotta rewatch those. Those were good movies. Good name drop.
Yeah, dude, it's just awesome. So okay, next. Jace wants to know, JACE. I believe some of these are Discord, Facebook, and then YouTube. Sure. So depending on where you commented, but Jace wants to know, would you rather have no feet or no hands? Now, obviously being a guitar player, I'm going to keep my hands. Like these are sacred, you know, that's like, I want to be able to take everything that I've learned and never lose it. But in the same hand, having prosthetic feet, I know for a fact that would be a whole different ball game, and I'd have to learn how to walk again.
Right, but I think I'm still gonna go with the no feet, because I'll get dude. I'll get the coolest robot legs ever and be the fastest motherfucker. Remember Tink Tank with the bent back paper clips with her feet?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that motherfucker ran quick. So
wasn't he in the Olympics?
Yeah, but I think he also like muck ducked his wife or something.
Wait, A guy with no feet killed his wife?
Yeah, I didn't know if we were allowed to say that on here. I'm pretty sure that was him.
Why is it that
ting ting?
I'm going to tread very carefully here. Why is it that whenever something like that happens, when someone that has been less fortunate, I'm leaving it at that. I'm not going to say the D word because everyone's going to be like, oh, so, but it's one of those where it's like, oh, it's like he killed his wife. Oh, maybe he had a good reason. Because you're like, oh, he's a little less fortunate. It's like
It's a little less fortunate.
even though he runs like the fucking wind without feet.
Because I think, anyways, I'm not going to get into it, but no. Anyways, the actual question is no feet, because you can still get things to like drive with your hands.
Yeah.
You can still cook. You could still you would have to relearn more than just walking. If you lost your hands.
See, I'm thinking of even what my mind goes to is that, say I'm having a fire, sitting outside where it's like I can't just reach for a log and grab it, or different things. Like it's, but then again, walking around the fire, it's like, all right, I got to be careful.
A wheelchair.
That's why
I'm just saying that is, you would have to relearn to do, I think, way more stuff without having hands than you would feet.
Sure. Yeah. That's an interesting question. People got really creative.
I'm just waiting for the fucked up ones.
Oh no, there are some in here. This one we don't necessarily need to answer, but I told Eric about this one before him. But Sarah Ferrari 23 says, "Would you rather have 100 Eric-sized Kyles or 100 Kyle-sized Erics?" And that is just those are the questions that I love. Guys, it's the one thing that infuriates me is that when I put a post up and I'm like, hey guys, give me your non-music, related questions or different things. And then everybody's like, whoa, how do you feel about Sleep Token or this or that? Because when you actually get creative, that's the cool shit that you get.
Yeah.
Is that I love stupid humor.
Yeah.
It is so fucking great, dude. So, but I think that 100 Kyle-sized Erics probably would be the best way to go, because then we can form a legion against the government.
There we go. I think we'll go with that one. Yeah.
Let's see. All right. This one, I guess, Final Destination. So we'll answer this one because it's newer out now. But The Witness 369 wants to know: would you rather know how you die or when you die? Because me personally, I'm cool with not knowing when. But if I'm going to get ripped apart by a grizzly bear, I would like to be able to mentally prepare myself. That's kind of where I'm at,
I think that is honestly because, see, the problem is that I'm already fixated on my time of my death time. Is that I would fixate if I knew when.
Yeah.
And do nothing but count down, and then I would lose all.
You wouldn't live.
I wouldn't live.
Yeah.
If I know, oh, well, dude, you're going to have a brain aneurysm. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, at least I know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, die in a fire.
Right.
Or, no, or even seriously, where it's well, if there's a burning house, it's well, at least I know I don't die from a fire, so I'm going to run in there and grab these kids or something, or something like that.
Being creative like that is that, because it's kind of funny, but, no, it is funny. It's hysterical. But from Scary Movie 3, where the one dude's smoking a cigarette and the kid that's psychic, he's like, smoke all you want, you're going to get hit by a bus. He's like,
yeah, right.
But that is an intriguing thing. And because it's, because people have always said where it's are you afraid to die? And it's I'm not necessarily afraid to die. I'm not worried about where I'm going or different things like that. It's, but it's so it's you're going to heaven. It's well, yeah, I fully believe that, but it doesn't mean I want to be eaten by a great white shark to get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's we're called to be godly. We're not called to be ignorant. You know what I mean? It's that type of thing. So, but that was a really deep question. So, let's see. John Martin. I use his questions a lot, but he has great shit. So he says, would you rather wake up naked in the woods 5 miles from home or wake up at work in your underwear?
Oh.
And I don't like either of these.
Naked 5 miles away from home?
Yeah. Or wake up at work in your underwear.
Oh, I'm doing 5 miles away from home. If I wake up at work, regardless if I'm naked, dressed, or in my underwear, I'm fucking pissed. If I wake up at work,
Yeah.
I'm fighting everybody in my tidy whities.
Who threw me into this closet? Like, it's like
It doesn't even. Why am I already here?
Mm-hmm.
Is my question. I'm roundhousing everybody in my fucking tidy whities. Nobody's safe. Brenda, the secretary, is not even safe.
You wear tidy whities?
No, but I was just saying. I'm fighting everybody if I wake up at work.
Oh shit! I think that I don't know. To me, it's one of those. I'd rather wake up 5 miles and be naked, only because at that point I'm gonna start crafting clothes out of leaves and shit.
Oh no, I'm
You
just
know?
walking straight through naked as fuck. Waving at motherfuckers like Forrest Gump on my boat.
Oh shit!
My boat.
Imagining
Give a fuck, dude. I'm
God.
5 miles from my house.
I'm gonna take my time and
I'm
window
pissed.
shop.
Yeah, I'm already pissed, but at least I'm not at work.
I have to say I'm in complete agreement with that one, though. That's good. Oh my god. Okay. Let's see. Mrs. Emmy Devil wants to know: would you rather go to prison for 5 years, no options of any less time whatsoever, so no parole, or be in a coma for 10 years? And
I'm doing a coma for sure. I'm doing a coma for sure. Oh, you mean I get to sleep?
and not do anything?
Not do shit? I don't gotta pay taxes. I don't have to eat, take a shit. I don't gotta do nothing. Just sleep I ain't slept in 35. I'm 41.
I won't lie, I'd probably take the prison.
Fuck that, dude.
Only because it's one of those that if I know that's like, all right, I've got 5 years to become the most feared man in you. Like
No.
it's what do they say is that you either have to kill or attack somebody your first day, that way nobody fucks with you, and it's like, all right,
Gotta
cool.
find the biggest motherfucker at lunch and slam his face into his fucking meatloaf.
I'm like, I want to go up to him and go, "You're fat,"
Yeah.
and just like,
Actually, we know somebody that got, because of them,
Oh, that's
they got
right.
rid of the metal fucking trays.
they had well, because it was we won't say his name, but the friend of ours, because what was it, he hit somebody with the tray at lunch, right?
Yeah, it was like his first couple of days in, because he did like almost 20 years, but it was
For
like
a crime he did not commit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but it was the fact of somebody wanted his piece of cake or something like that, and he said, "That's mine." Dude took it and he stood up and fucking Babe Ruth the shit out of this dude with the fucking metal tray. He said he went to the hole for like 2 weeks. When he came back, everything was styrofoam.
because it's because
Beat
he
the
always
fuck out of this dude.
well, because what was it? He said he went from went from smoking cigarettes to smoking cigars.
Because
Yeah.
they were another line of defense to because they were a bigger cherry, bigger everything as far as to burn somebody. Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's honestly it's one of those that like when you hear stories of people that have been, whether they've been wrongfully convicted or if they've served their time for a crime they did commit, is that it's interesting. Now, granted, like in maximum security, you don't get this, you get this kind of treatment, but it's like we've had, friends of ours that, have been in, I can't remember what they're called, like light security or whatever. Minimum security. Thank you. Where it's like they have like a rec room or they have like different things, like you just can't go outside or like can't go back into normal life or whatever. But when you hear stories of like Nick Yaris, who was like, wrongfully convicted for, rape and murder, where it's like, for 22 years or however long it was. And it's like, he learned how to speak and write beautifully, and like he took that time and bettered himself. It's like, there's some incredible thing. Not saying you have to go to prison to do that.
No,
but in
some
this
people,
context,
somebody, right, like you were saying, like as far as you're like, that's what you would do. So that's actually really funny that you and I have very different, because I'm just like, it's not the fact that I couldn't handle myself or whatever, but I'm just like, fuck that. I'm not dealing with it. You mean I get to sleep and be stress-free for 10 years? Sign me up.
I think it's one of those that it just makes me wonder, because like I for anybody that has ever been in a coma before, I am curious, because I've heard people say that they were aware the whole time they can hear, or they were like, no, I was out. Like,
yeah,
that type of thing.
It depends.
Mm-hmm. No, it's just
you could sign me up for 15. Fuck it.
So, okay, so another spin on this. So Lauren Doodle Sorry, no, Lauren Doodle. Lauren Noodle. Sorry, Lauren Noodle wants to know: would you rather have unlimited free food for the rest of your life, or never need sleep? Both of these are very, very good.
Unlimited free food?
I'm imagining that this would cover not only groceries, but this would cover when you go to restaurants, or if you are, like over
just in general.
Have unlimited free food no matter what, or never need to sleep, because I know exactly which one I would choose.
I'm going with no sleep.
Same.
I'm going with no sleep, man, because it's not even the fact of what I could get done. It's just what I could get done and what oh man, that's wild.
It kind of makes me mad that that's not an option in life, where it's I'll trade off something to be able to never have to sleep again. Because it's terrible. But one of our friends, we're talking about a lot of incriminating things. But one of our friends talked about how when he would do speed, back in the day. Excuse me. And he, at one point, he was I was awake for 3 to 4 days in a row.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, oh, so you got off of it and everything, you're better now. And he's like, well, yeah, I'm healthier. But he's like, dude, I got so much done. He's like, my kids were taken care of. He's like, I did my laundry. He's like their laundry was folded. The house was spotless. I aced everything at work. And then he kind of stopped and he went, and then day 4 would arrive and I would crash and almost die for 5. And I'm like, well, then it's not worth it, man. It's like you're losing time. But in the same hand, it's terrible, but I get it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it too, where people kind of get fixated and hooked on that. But dude, that's I got shit done.
He's like, it was so great. So let's see here. Crystal did have a good one, which was, would you rather be able to speak and understand all animals, or be able to speak and understand every human language? So understand animals or human. Because there's a part of me that would, as much as I would love to be able to speak to anyone anywhere, but I love the wild thornberries, and the fact that it's I would imagine that they would be not like you barking at a dog or whatever, but it's the idea that you would be able to hear your dog, your cat, or different things.
I don't know, man. I actually think I don't think I would enjoy being able to understand animals.
Really?
Because first of all, it's not that I travel a lot, but that capability to be able to understand any human being would be cool, just in the fact of that. But I maybe call me morbid, whatever, but I would never want to hear other animals, and the fact of that we eat or that we use, or when they're being harmed, out in the wilderness. If you could hear them, that means you can hear them. Mm-hmm. So when they're being attacked,
so it's
when they're being all of those things, when you hear come here, motherfucker, because they're out there getting, fucking eaten by a grizzly bear, and the grizzly bear is going, I'm just trying to eat you.
Well, it's because I think it's almost like, what was it? The Lion King, where Pumbaa gets stuck in the other root. He's like, what's wrong?
He's gonna eat me.
He's like, oh, Pumbaa, okay, hold on, please. But I don't know. I think it's only because it's so unique. It's that thing of a part of me would want to be able to turn it on and turn it off.
That's what I'm saying. Could you imagine having a Dr. Dolittle syndrome where it's you can understand every animal? Fuck no, man.
Right.
No way. I'd rather be able to just be I'm staying in the house, nobody fucking talk. Nothing is funny today.
No, nothing. Oh God, I don't know if I want to say this one just because this one feels like it's a little too close to home. But it's another one of Martin's. But he said, we don't have to answer. But he said, would you rather? So mean. Would you rather always get stuck in traffic, or always have slow internet connections? I'm gonna
traffic.
I'll take traffic. At least then we can listen to whatever the hell we want.
I'll just take back roads everywhere I go.
Let's see. Justin, I hope I'm saying your last name correctly, and if not, I apologize. But Justin Vioral wants to know, would we rather have a day at the beach or a day in the woods? Now, both of them scare me for very different reasons. One's very practical and one's very impractical.
Weren't you a Boy Scout?
I was, but we were always in a very, very controlled environment. And Scoutmaster Ken was always there. And Scoutmaster John. So, weirdly enough, I would probably take the beach. And the only reason why is because I don't want to be so far into the woods that I'm lost. Where it's like, no, if I'm on the beach, I don't have to be in the water. I can chill on the sand. I can do this.
Same.
I can do that,
That's the thing. I take the beach. Yeah. But speaking of woods, a friend of mine, when I lived in Pittsburgh, told me a story about him and 3 buddies that went hiking on some heavily wooded, just rocky area and stuff, wilderness, if you will, where they kind of knew, but they'd never really been. Mm-hmm. And they decided it was a really good idea to take a bunch of brownies with them.
No.
So the problem was that they were all fucking idiots, ate said brownies while in the middle of the woods, mind you, that they didn't really know where they'd been before. Like, they'd been, but like not this deep, right? That's what she said. Walking, and when 20, 30 minutes into it, they were like, well, I don't feel anything, so they ate more.
God, that strict thing about
they
edibles.
They said the quickest 9 hours went by, and it was dark. And they were lost. They made it out, but the fact of it was that's what happened, because I'm like, you only waited 30 minutes. Like, it can take up to an hour sometimes.
See,
they were in the fucking woods.
Dude, ever since I had my mega dose, like I don't fuck with that shit anymore. Like it's like I like it's one of those where it's like I've learned that, for instance, like I did it the other night where, I popped my nighttime gummy, but I was like, you know what? I'll smoke a little bit of my nighttime joint now.
Once it wears off, that'll be kicking in. Yeah.
And it's, by the time that I sat down, I played Doom for a little bit, and it was probably like, I don't know, like quarter till, midnight. And then I finally started to feel it. And I'm like, okay, nope, I'm ready for bed.
Yeah.
Because I think that more so edibles freak me out when there's higher doses like during the day. Because for me, it's one of those that if you're going to have a high dosed edible, or if you're going to do something like that, it's kind of like, well, I mean, if it's at night, fuck it, just go to sleep. Like
sure.
Like you're going to get knocked out anyway, So it's oh my God, like especially if you're going to be doing something like a brownie, because chocolate in edibles fuck me up, dude, and I do not like the way it makes me feel. It's one of the more intense 8-hour endeavors of an edible that I had on Delta 8 that I will never forget. Luke stopped over. He gave me because I think he had like a full like chocolate bar, but he didn't give me too much. Like,
yeah, I remember that.
He just broke off like whatever like corner of it. I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll pop a little bit. Like I'll have this, and like we'll smoke our pens or different things. And I'm glad I waited, because I was like, no, I'm like, I want to see how this is going to treat me first. And God, like I don't think, because especially on like my days off, like I pretty much am a chronic smoker all day.
Sure.
But that day I was like, no, I'm like, I'm good. Like I am set. And actually I'm a little too high, with it. And it's, for me, it was like, nah, man, if I'm going to do gas station weed, it's not going to be chocolate. So it's or diet weed or whatever you want to call it, but God, it was just that was so fucking awful. But if you're going to have brownies and you're going to be in a, like, at least like let it be a friend's backyard with a tent, or something.
That's
like
what I was
like
saying.
experience it that way.
When you read that, I was like, oh my God, I remember hearing my buddy talk about being in the fucking woods. Like, oh my God.
Well, especially because to me, like that's the moment that you would see the stairs in the staircases in the woods. And it's
climbing up them.
Right. There is actually a strict rule set around them. You do not do that. That is a bad thing. If you do touch them, come back to the channel and let us know what happened. But we don't endorse it.
I'm going to find them.
So
who's coming with me.
I think it's going to do it for Would You Rather tonight, guys. Thank you for your patience of waiting for us to get things taken care of. We're still going to be figuring things out, but it's a fun little time. I think that it's doing some of these every once in a while isn't a bad idea. But as always, we want to know, what do you guys want to see or hear on the podcast, depending on what we can do. But we always want your guys' input. Thank you to everybody that is a member. Your name is going to be at the end of the video this week. It's going to be updated literally the night of like Wednesdays when we shoot it. So if you become a member Thursday, your name won't be in it until the following week. So just be aware. And huge thank you to our patrons. Again, to be a patron of the channel is $1. To be a member of the channel is 99 cents. If you want to support us, that's the way you can do it. But if not, just hit that subscribe button, that like and comment. It helps us out so much. And yeah, super stoked to get this out there for you guys. But as always, Eric, is there anything you would like to tell them before we sign off until next week?
No, other than just, yeah, thanks for hanging out. And hopefully we'll get this fixed for next time as far as some visuals.
Yep. All right. We love you guys. We'll see you later. Adios.